sparkle transformation. Empathy and service to others engenders joy and helps create an immediate and an extended family and community. This time of year, we call that community the Christmas spirit. And with that in mind, let us tell some stories, read some poems, all the while we wish you a very Merry Christmas. Now, it's a pretty fair statement to say that the poem "'Twas the Night Before Christmas" is probably the most famous Christmas holiday poem. We heard it as kids, our parents heard it as kids, and it passes from generation to generation. We added a little music, so here is "'Twas the Night Before Christmas." 'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled our brains for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there rose such a clatter, I sprang from the bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash, tore open the shutters, and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of a new-fallen snow gave the luster of midday to objects below, when what to my wondering eye should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. With a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Cupid, on Comet, on Donder and Blitzen. To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall, now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As dry leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky. So up to the housetop the coursers they flew, with a sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too. And then in a twinkling I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes, how they twinkled, his dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard of his chin was as white as the snow. The stump of his pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf. And I laughed when I saw him, in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him explain, ere he drove out of sight, Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night. Christmas is certainly one of my favorite times of the year, and I suppose it's true for most of us who really enjoy what the season brings. I have so many memories of great Christmases as a child that one day I decided to put it into a poem. And here it is. It's called Christmas Time. Christmas time surprises as it jumps out from the cold to warm the late December days with frankincense and gold. It heralds in with music in the silence of the night, and when it wakes the child within, my memories are all bright. Happy thoughts are set to play this darkest time of light, and brighten up the shortened days with friends who reunite. Chums of old and pals of new, all wishing Christmas cheer, with cedar sparks from glowing logs to warm the midnight clear. It's wrapping hearts in holly green and Rudolph red with bow, and standing neath a buried sprig, of kissing mistletoe. Dancing dreams of sugar plums and minted candy cane bring visions of a Christmas tree and a circling, tooting train. There's spruce to cut and wreaths to make in circles and in sprays that decorate the doors and hearths on merry Noel days. There's lights to string and wood to bring and ornaments to make for packages beneath the tree as snow begins to flake. I hearken as the angels sing with distant family near, and I love to hear a child say the names of 8 reindeer. Patina thoughts of Christmas past and shiny ones of new remind me of the Magi 3 and a child named Jesu. There's jingle bells and icicles and packages to tie with ribbons tight and wrappings bright of sleighs up in the sky. There's hugs galore and candy more and kids with favorite toys and shirts and socks and building blocks for little girls and boys. There's cards and calls and carols and candles fill the room and tins of sugar cookies shine by red poinsettia bloom. Christmas time indeed surprises in a special, wondrous way. In winter and forever, it's my favorite holiday. Every boy and girl at some time in their growing asks, is there a Santa Claus? It is a question that our parents asked, that our grandparents asked, and even way before them. Once back in 1897, 103 years ago, a little girl wrote a letter to the editor of a newspaper in New York City. And she asked, is there a Santa Claus? Here is the famous editorial that first appeared in the New York Sun, September 21st, 1897. Quote, we take pleasure in answering at once and thus prominently the communications below, expressing at the same time our great gratification that its faithful author is numbered among the friends of the Sun. Now here's the letter the little girl wrote. Dear editor, I am 8 years old. Some of my little friends say that there is no Santa Claus. Papa says if you see it in the sun, it's so. Please tell me the truth. Is there a Santa Claus? Signed, Virginia O'Hanlon, 115 West 95th Street, New York. Here's the answer. Virginia, your little friends are wrong. They have been affected by a skepticism of a skeptical age. They do not believe except what they see. They think that nothing can be which is not comprehensible by their little minds. All minds, Virginia, whether they be men's or children's, are little. In this great universe of ours, man is a mere insect, an ant, in his intellect as compared with the boundless world about him, as measured by the intelligence capable of grasping the whole of truth and knowledge. Yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. He exists as certainly as love and generosity and devotion exist. And you know that they abound and give to your life its highest beauty and joy. Alas, how dreary would it be in the world if there were no Santa Claus? It would be dreary as if there were no Virginias. There would be no childlike faith then, no poetry, no romance to make tolerable this existence. We should have no enjoyment except in sense and sight. The eternal light with which childhood fills the world would be extinguished. Not believe in Santa Claus? You might as well not believe in fairies. You might get your papa to hire some men to watch all the chimneys on Christmas Eve to watch and catch Santa Claus. But even if they did not see Santa Claus coming down, what would that prove? Nobody sees Santa Claus, but that is no sign that there is no Santa Claus. The most real things in the world are those that neither children nor men can see. Did you ever see fairies dancing on the lawn? Of course not. But that's no proof that they're not there. Nobody can conceive or imagine all the wonders that there are unseen in the world. You tear apart the babe's rattle and see what makes the noise inside, but there is a veil covering the unseen world which not the strongest man, nor even the united strength of all the strongest men that ever lived, could tear apart. Only faith, fancy, poetry, love, romance can push aside that curtain and view and picture the supernatural beauty and the glory beyond. Is it all real? Ah, Virginia, in all this world there is nothing else real and abiding. No Santa Claus? Thank God he lives. And he lives forever. 1,000 years from now, Virginia, nay, 10 times 10,000 years from now, he will continue to make glad the heart of childhood. The following is a sonnet that I wrote for a friend of mine who was telling me the story about her grandmother was such an important force for their whole family, but particularly this friend of mine as they celebrated Christmas as a child. So I wrote this for her. It's called Silver Tree. Framed by the dark of winter's early night, a Christmas tree arrays a window high and beams a silver light, a beacon bright, to wish the season's joy to passers-by. Each branch has candles bubbling to a flame, a larger one upon the very top, a special sight for children to exclaim, "Old Santa Claus will see the tree and stop." A Christmas magic glows around this room and decorates the tree from year to year. It shines a silent spirit to illume the family's busy way with Yuletide cheer. The keeper of this light, a lady grand, her Christmas joy, to hold a grandchild's hand. This next one is called Sleigh Ride, and it comes from another friend who told me about a Christmas in Danbury where she grew up, and talked about a neighbor who had a barn in red and 2 horses, and every time it snowed, the kids got a chance to ride the sleigh. A withered barn in withered red stands clear within a memory, and every time it starts to snow, old thoughts return to Danbury. It was a barn like no other, mystic, magic, somehow serene. There's tack and harness set in place, yet something else that can't be seen. An inner warmth and eminence, an aura shine you cannot view. Perhaps the light of keeper's soul, the one who mends and tends unto. This heart of his and equine heat oft stays the cold of winter's sting and keeps the frost from off the bells that trim the reins and give the ring. In boarded stall the horses sense the quiet fall of downy flake. They paw the straw and perk the ear and gently give their heads a shake. Across the way, past field white, atop harvest chaff and stubbled hay, children question with excitement, "Sir, are you hitching up the sleigh?" "Come, Cinnamon and Ginger Snap are ready now to trot the snow," says the fervid, friendly neighbor, a child too, who wants to go. Well, did you get your share of Christmas greetings, holiday wishes from family and friends this year? The greeting card people figure that there are about 10,000 different Christmas card designs, and they expect 3 or 4 billion cards to be sent this year. A little history about that. Christmas cards probably descended from what once was called school pieces, or Christmas pieces, which were popular from the beginning of the middle of the 19th century. They were sheets of writing paper, sometimes surrounded with elaborate pen flourishes and scrolls. They were used to school children at the approach of the holidays for carefully written letters telling about how their progress in composition was coming and showing their penmanship. The Christmas card itself had a tentative origin, supposedly in 1846. Joseph Cundall, a London, England artist, claims to being the publisher of the first Christmas card, but he acknowledges the idea belonged to another. Writing in the London Times of January 2nd, 1884, Cundall said that the idea came from Sir Henry Cole. He added that the Christmas cards were printed in lithography, and nearly 1,000 were sold. It was not until 1862 that the Christmas card custom started to gain popularity. To begin with, the cards were small in size, a little larger than a regular business card of today, and they were inscribed simply with "A Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year." Later, the cards got a little more fancy, adding artwork of holly branches and landscapes. Today, we have them with musical microchips that play a carol to go along with the season's greetings. And of course, our season's greetings continues with "Stopping by the Woods on a Snowy Evening" by Robert Frost. Whose woods are these? I think I know. His house is in the village, though. He will not see me stopping here to watch his woods fill up with snow. My little horse must think it queer to stop without a farmhouse near. Between the woods and frozen lake, the darkest evening of the year. He gives his harness bells a shake to ask if there is some mistake. The only other sounds the sweep of easy wind and downy flake. The woods are lovely, dark and deep. But I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep. And miles to go before I sleep. This one is entitled For Christmas, and it's by Rachel Field. Now not a window, small or big, but wears a wreath of holly sprig, nor any shop too poor to show its spray of pine or mistletoe. Now city airs are spicy sweet with Christmas trees along each street. Green spruce and fir whose boughs will hold their tinseled bells and fruits of gold. Now postmen pass in threes and fours like bent blue-coated Santa Claus. Now people hurry to and fro with little girls and boys in tow. And not a child but keeps some trace of Christmas secrets in his face. This is a poem entitled Christmas by John Betjeman. The bells of waiting Advent ring, the tortoise stove is lit again, and lamp oil light across the night has caught the streaks of winter rain in many a stained glass window sheen from Crimson Lake to Hooker's Green. The holly in the windy hedge and round the manor house the yew will soon be stripped to deck the ledge, the altar, font, and arch and pew, so that the villagers can say, the church looks nice on Christmas Day. Provincial public houses blaze and corporation tramiers clang. On lighted tenements I gaze, where paper decorations hang. Red Town Hall says, Merry Christmas to you all. And London shops on Christmas Eve are strung with silver bells and flowers, as hurrying clerks the city leave to pigeon-haunted classic towers. And marbled clouds go scudding by the many-steepled London sky. And girls in slacks remember Dad, and oafis louts remember Mom. And sleepless children's hearts are glad, and Christmas morning bells say come, even to shining ones who dwell safe in the Dorchester Hotel. And is it true, this most tremendous tale of all, seen in a stained glass window hue, a baby in an ox's stall, the maker of the stars and sea, become a child on earth for me? And is it true? For if it is, no loving fingers tying strings round those tissued flipperies, the sweet and silly Christmas things, bath salts and inexpensive scent, and hideous ties so kindly meant. No love that in a family dwells, no caroling in frosty air, nor all the steeple-shaking bells can with this single truth compare, that God was man in Palestine and lives today in bread and wine. This next one I wrote while sitting in a country inn in California, because as I looked out these old windows that had some imperfections in them, I looked out there and there was some trees right close by, and I thought I saw an angel. So I was so moved by it, I wrote this poem, and it's called Angel in the Window. They were tiny panes, I admit, and though my mind says it's not so, I'm sure I saw an angel sit there in the window all aglow. Couldn't be. I know it's said that angels rarely can be seen, but what I saw had wings outspread, or so it seemed, with glass between. Maybe it's a light reflection, a sparkle of the sun's bright light, maybe too an imperfection set in the glass, however slight. Just as I went to turn away, I heard a voice within my mind, and it softly wished as if to pray, a Christmas peace to all mankind. The words were calming, halcyon, but what was I supposed to do? Say it, she said, to everyone, those here and there, to all unto. Am I, said I, to represent this spirit wish to all I see? I'm only one, and though well meant, some hearts are filled with apathy. Besides, I said, how do you say to everyone and everywhere, an angel asked me to convey a Christmas peace, a like prayer. The angel said, be not concerned, for those will hear who have the ear. They'll listen to and then discern the piece of truth that will appear. Whose truth is that? I did implore, and looked around the window frame to try to see the angel more. When then her answer did proclaim, it is a truth from source above, so heed the thought's phenomenon. No joy and truth equate as love, the triad essence of the one. I felt this truth right from the start. It energized and set ablaze a light that rested in my heart. And then she said this loving phrase, a single word with love intent said unto those you do not know creates a light that's ambient when you, as stranger, say hello. I held my breath to hear some more. These words of truth were most profound, but it was silent as before the angel came around. I'm sure there was an angel there out the window and to the right, but as I looked beyond the glare, the shining light had taken flight. So thus I share with you and your, the truth an angel left behind, a special wish that will endure, a Christmas peace to all mankind. We hope that you have enjoyed this classic Christmas. From all of us here at RNN, we do wish you a Merry Christmas, and we'd like you to have a wonderful New Year. I'm Rolland Smith. Good night.